Hello YouTube, my name is Brighton Hamilton, and I have a daughter named Sky Hamilton. The little girl you see in the videos, on all my other videos, her name's Sky Hamilton. And I'm gonna give you a rundown of her life real quick. She was born 6 months premature. Mind you, they ain't tell us that she was gonna be born premature, but she was born 6 months premature. And she was born in Harlem Hospital. When she was born in Harlem Hospital, they put her in an incubator in a NICU. And she was doing good. She was drinking and all that, but her intestines exploded. So he had to get her surgery for her intestines, and they had to connect the intestines together. And that process was type scary because we didn't know whether she was gonna live or die. But she made it through it. She survived it, and she was drinking milk. It was going through her intestines good. And then she went to Blasdale Children's Hospital. That's in Valhalla, New York. And she was up there. She's going through the process. We come to see her a couple of times, me and her mother, and she wound up. One day she stopped drinking. She stopped drinking. She stopped eating altogether. So she had to go to Montefiore Hospital, and she had to get a central line. The central line is something they surgically put in your chest, and they give you medication through there, and they could give you and a G tube. A G tube is where they feed you and put milk through it, you know. And she wasn't eating none of that. Stopped eating altogether, so she had to get fed through a G tube for almost the rest of her life. We don't know why she stopped eating. We think it's because the nurses didn't give us too much care, whatnot. But long story short, she went to, she kept going in and out of surgeries. Altogether, she had like 13 surgeries. 13 surgeries. It's a long road. I've been with her in the hospital the whole time, and I've been through a lot of things in the hospital. And this is the purpose of me making this video. But getting back to it, she went to St. Mary's Children's Hospital. That's like a rehabilitation, just like Blasdale was supposed to be. And she was supposed to stay there so she could get to, rehabilitate. Now I mean, get used to using the line and get used to getting better so she could go home. So she went to St. Mary's, which is in Queens. So her line came out in St. Mary's, so we had to take her to New York Presbyterian. We preferred to take her to New York Presbyterian because I couldn't go see her in Montefiore no more because the whole thing happened, and I'm gonna tell y'all about that in the next video. It's a whole thing that happened, and it's one of the purposes of making this video too. And she went to New York Presbyterian, which is a good hospital. But some nurses, you got a whole bunch of nurses in different places that's not doing their job. But she went to New York Presbyterian, and then she went home after 2 years. After 2 years in the hospital, she went home. And she wound up dying in 2017, April 18th. And it was the worst thing that I ever went through. It's very hard on me and affects me to this day. When you lose a child, you lose a part of you. And you're not the same. Anybody that loses a child and they love their child is not the same person after that. I mean, I'm not the same person afterwards, but my whole purpose of this video is to help people in that situation. And I've been in that situation. I know the ins and outs. And I know a lot of other people is going through this situation. My hearts go out to y'all. And I hope your child gets well and gets through this process nice and easy and live a normal life like they deserve to be. But the purpose of me making this video is so that I can help other people see the importance of the responsibilities they have to take in order for their child to recover and get on the road to go home. And one of those things is people make sure whether the mother and father has to be there for each other, because you have to be there for your child in the hospital. You have to. You have to be there for your child in the hospital. I'm drinking E&J. It's hard for me to even talk about this, but y'all have to be there for your child in the hospital. The mother and the father, whatever y'all going through, leave it leave it there. If y'all a good family, good. Y'all need to be there for each other because y'all have to be there in the hospital with that child. Do not leave your child in the hospital. Please don't leave your child in the hospital by yourselves, thinking that the nurses are gonna take care of them and that they go the nurses care, and you just go home and do what you gotta do, or you run errands and do whatever while the nurses have your child. No, don't do that, because all nurses ain't good. Number one example, nurses like they you had to kick a whole bunch of nurses out because Scott, my daughter, they had a they had nurses like nurses aides sitting with them the whole time, and nurses they don't be changing their pampers, they don't be doing none of that. And if your child can't talk, you should not leave them in the hospital. They can't talk. Don't leave them in the hospital because they don't be changing their diapers. And she had a pick line, so you know you gotta clean around the line and change the line, and they wasn't doing that. No, they was just lazy. They'll wait, they'll stall, and then the baby develop diaper rashes and all that. And at Blaisdell Hospital, when she went to Blaisdell Hospital, my daughter went to Blaisdell Hospital. She stopped eating, she stopped drinking. Nobody knew why. And this is a time where I would go see her in Blaisdell Hospital, but I would go slide off and do something else, and the mother will go to Blaisdell Hospital and go slide and do something else and leave our baby in the hospital. So therefore, we don't know what happened with her. We don't know why she wasn't drinking or doing none of that. So I put it on myself. So ever since that time, I stood with her in the hospital the whole time. And it was times where I've been starving. It's times where, you know what I mean, I couldn't even work. I had to stay in the hospital with her. And her mother had to work and stay with, and she had another child she had to attend to. So she had to handle her responsibilities. So I was the one staying in the hospital with her the whole time. I mean, so therefore I had to watch the nurses, and I mean I done seen a whole bunch of stuff. I had to get on nurses about a whole bunch of things. I had to kick nurses out because they wasn't not the regular nurses that come in and do their thing. They have nurses assistants that sit there with your baby the whole time. And they'll sit there and watch TV and fiddle with their phone, and your baby pee on themselves or doo-doo on themselves, they'll leave it right there for hours, and they'll develop diaper rashes. And if you got a diaper rash and your baby can't change itself, so your diaper rash, it fucks with you. Excuse my language, but I have to. But it fucks with you. It fucks with the baby. You know what I mean? The baby, next thing you know, they got a diaper rash and they uncomfortable. They sitting there in pain and they sitting there suffering because the nurse don't want to change them. I mean, some nurses don't care. They move around the line. Next thing you know, the pick line comes out because they manhandled the baby and stuff like that. And they got to go back in surgery, risking their life again. Like, it's crazy. Please, I can't express the importance to y'all. If you have a child with somebody and y'all have a baby in the hospital, please be there for your baby in the hospital. Please don't leave your baby in the hospital. Take shifts. Like, the mother sometimes go to work. The mother, all y'all dads out there, the mother needs y'all in this situation. They need y'all. They need y'all to be there. Because they need to slide off and handle their responsibilities or whatever. They might have another child, whatnot. They need you to take that spot. And your child needs you in that hospital, believe it or not. As much as you might think that the nurse has your child and the nurse is going to take care of your child, please don't count on that 100% because you don't know that person will hole in the wall. They'll be nice to you when you're around. Then when you're not around, they'll slack it. They'll be on the phone. They don't give a fuck about your child. They'll manhandle your child. Next thing you know what I mean? G2s is coming out. Lines is coming out. And they give you some type of bullshit excuses. Everybody taking up for everybody. So it's just like, please be there for your child. It's crazy. Please be there for your child. It's a dirty game. I had to get on a bunch of nurses for doing a bunch of things. One time, I went out and smoked a cigarette. And I came back. And next thing you know, my baby was crying hysterically like somebody did something to her. She never cried like this in her life. And I'm seeing her, the nurses sitting there like she was doing something else other than trying to calm her down or tend to her. So I had to kick her out. I had to kick her out the room and get another nurse, And it took all of me not to like smack the shit out of her. I mean, because that's your child, so you react certain ways. It's hard. It's hard, people. It's hard. There's so much things I've seen, especially with other children. I hear and I sit there and I talk to nurses assistants, And they tell me about other babies, and they don't even sound like they want to be attentive to them. So I don't even trust them with mine. It's a whole bunch of things, y'all. I miss my daughter so much, and this is why I'm making this video. This is why I'm making these videos, because I'm going to make more. I'm making these videos so I can celebrate her life. I can tell other people, other parents, help other parents with my experience so that they can help their child get through this. Hopefully I could be of help to y'all. Hopefully this video could be of help to y'all. Hopefully it could channel something, somebody that could be there for their children more. I mean, I'm not saying that most people don't love their children, because they do. But you just have other responsibilities that you have to do. You gotta work, you gotta take care of home, you gotta take care of rent, you gotta take care of other things that you might have to take care of. I mean, you love your child, you're gonna come to the hospital, you're gonna check on them whenever you can. But you got your other responsibilities you gotta live for too. You have other responsibilities. And you gotta attend to those other responsibilities. And I understand it. That's why you have to have the other parent to take your spot whenever you go. You have this teamwork. Whoever else can help, that's the merrier. Somebody gotta be there for that child while they're in the hospital. They don't want to sit here and talk your head off from one video, but y'all don't know the importance to be there for your child in the hospital. If they cannot talk, please be there for your child in the hospital. Please, they need you. My child needed me. I wish I was there in Blasdale Hospital with her, so that she could, but I wasn't. I wasn't. I regretted that. And I don't know what happened. I just go by what the nurses told me. She just stopped eating out of nowhere. We got to buy that. And, hopefully I could help other parents. My experience, that's my whole purpose of making these videos. It's gonna be more. It's gonna be more videos about me talking about my experience in the hospital and times where I had to kick nurses out, and times where I got into disputes because the nurses wasn't doing what they were supposed to do, and tactics that the nurses do to get your parent out the child's circumference so they could do their job the way they want to do their job, you know? And the way they want to do their job, nobody wants to work. You have nurses out there that do their job and do a good job. Real good nurses. I experienced it. But most nurses don't want to do shit. They want to lay back. They want to sit on their phone. They want to chill. Nurses assistants, excuse me. They want to sit on their phone and do whatever, you know what I mean? And in order to do that and to make a comfortable environment, they'll lie and say it happened. And I'm going to get into them stories in my next video. But thank you for tuning in. And this is my daughter's channel. Hope y'all like it. Please subscribe. And there'll be much more videos. Thank you very much for tuning in.